The night sky over Earth looked calm, almost peaceful, but something far beyond human eyes was moving in the dark. In the cold space beyond Pluto, a massive shape cut through the black void. It was not a rock, not a comet, not anything humans had ever seen before. It was a ship, an alien warship its size, so large it could block out starlight like a moon. Inside the ship, glowing blue lights moved along tall metal walls. Strange symbols shifted like living creatures. Hundreds of armored alien soldiers stood ready. Their breathing was deep and heavy, like metal grinding against stone. They belonged to the Vorgan Dominion, a brutal empire feared across the galaxy. At the center of the command deck stood High Marshal Kravox, the most feared Vorgan alive. His armor was thick and dark, and his four glowing eyes watched a hologram of Earth slowly spinning in the air. Another young world, Kravox said in a cold voice. Another species that will kneel. His second officer bowed. Shall we prepare the message, High Marshal? Kravox nodded. Yes, let them know what is coming. Back on Earth, in a huge United World Council hall, leaders from every nation sat around a bright circular table. They were in the middle of a peace summit, something humanity had waited years for. Cameras were recording, reporters were watching, and billions of people were tuned in across the world. But suddenly, the lights flickered. The screens around the hall turned black. A loud, deep sound echoed through every speaker on Earth. It felt like the sky itself was growling. People stood, confused, nervous. Then a figure appeared on every screen, 4 eyes, sharp teeth, dark armor, a monster, a Vorgan. Gasps broke through the room. Fear spread like fire. The alien began speaking with slow, heavy words that shook the air. People of Earth, the Vorgan Dominion has arrived. The hall went silent. Across the world, millions froze in front of their screens. You will surrender your planet, the alien continued. You will surrender your weapons. You will surrender your future. Refuse. And be erased. Some leaders whispered in panic. Others covered their mouths. The message kept playing everywhere, from city streets to school classrooms. But in the hall, one man stood calm. Commander Raiden Cole, leader of Earth's defense network, stepped forward. Tall, sharp-eyed, wearing a black uniform with silver stripes. Raiden watched the alien message with an expression no one expected. Not fear, not shock, but something else. It started as a small smile. Then dash very softly. Raiden laughed. People around him stared. Commander, are you okay? A diplomat whispered. Rayd kept watching the alien. They think we will bow, he said. They don't know us at all. At that moment, the alien message ended. The screen turned black again, leaving only silence behind. Raiden stepped up to the microphone, knowing billions were watching live. His voice was calm but strong. If you are watching this, he said, stay steady. Humanity has faced storms before. We will face this one too. Then, with a brief, gentle tone, he added, and if you want to follow this journey, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Your support keeps these stories alive. After that, his face turned serious again. Now, let's focus. Far away, in space, the Vorgan ship moved closer. Their scouts reported the message had been delivered. Kravox listened without emotion. Have they surrendered yet? Kravox asked. No, High Marshal. Kravox's eyes narrowed. Then they do not understand what is coming. Another Vorgan officer stepped forward. Shall we fire a warning shot? Kravox raised one hand. Yes, destroy something small. A satellite. A station. Let them feel our presence. The officer bowed. Seconds later, a bright red beam shot out of the Vorgan ship. It traveled across space like a burning spear and struck one of Earth's outer satellites. The explosion lit up the dark. On Earth, alarms went off all over mission control. Engineers shouted. Screens filled with error messages. Satellite 14 is gone. One officer shouted, "It's completely destroyed." Another yelled. The blast came from outside the solar system. Raiden stepped forward. "Open the secret channel," he ordered. The lights in the room turned blue. The floor panels opened, revealing a hidden Map 1 the public had never seen. A map of Earth's secret defense systems. Project Iron Shield. Raiden pressed his hand on a scanner. All units, prepare defense level 1. Move our first fleet to defensive formation. His officers moved fast. The calm summit hall had turned into a war command center in seconds. Raiden looked toward the sky through the large window. His voice was low but steady. "They came to scare us," he said. "But they don't know humanity. We don't break. We don't kneel." A soft vibration shook the earth as emergency launch bays opened. "We prepare," Raiden said. "And when the time comes, we fight." Far beyond Earth, the Vorgan ships continued to move closer. Their huge shadows spreading across the stars like a dark wave. The aliens believed the planet would fall easily. They believed humans would beg. They believed surrender was inevitable. But soon, they would learn the truth. Humanity was not afraid. Humanity was getting ready. And the real clash had only begun. Earth did not sleep that night. Cities glowed under emergency lights. Skies filled with warning sirens, and millions of people stared upward, trying to see the invisible danger coming from the dark space beyond. Neptune. Commander Raiden Cole stood inside the main operations center, surrounded by screens showing the same terrifying image. A Vorgan ship moving closer slow. Steady, unstoppable. Every time the alien ship shifted even a little, the sensor screamed. "Trajectory confirmed," said Officer Mira, eyes wide. "They are entering the outer ring of the solar system." Raiden nodded. His jaw tightened. "They want to test us. They want to see if we bend." Myra swallowed hard. "Do we respond?" Raiden looked at the huge glowing map of space. Red dots alien ships. Blue dots Earth defense units slowly forming. "No," he said. "Not yet. The world reacts across the planet. Chaos mixed with courage. In New York. Crowds rushed to rooftops, staring at the sky. In Tokyo. Soldiers prepared defense drones. In London. Emergency broadcasts told people to remain calm. And in a quiet African village, a young boy whispered to his mother, "Will the sky fall?" His mother pulled him close. "Humans don't fall," she said. "We rise." The Vorgan's warning shot. Inside the Vorgan flagship, High Marshal Kravox studied Earth like a scientist watching an insect. "So much noise," he said, hearing the panic across intercepted human broadcasts. "So much fear." His second officer bowed. "Shall we deliver the second warning?" Kravox hissed softly. "No, this time we strike something bigger." He turned to his weapons master. "Target their outer station. The one they think is hidden." The weapons master grinned. "Yes, High Marshal." Moments later, a glowing beam built up at the tip of the Vorgan. Ship. It pulsed once. Then fired. It crossed millions of kilometers in seconds and hit Earth's secret station. Omega 3, hidden beyond Neptune. From Earth's perspective, the station simply vanished, erased in a flash of light. All communication with Omega 3 went dead. Back on Earth. "Silence. Station Omega 3 has been destroyed," Officer Mira whispered. "No survivors." Her voice trembled. The room fell completely silent. Raiden didn't move. His eyes locked on the screen like a steel blade. "So that's what they want," he said quietly. "Fear." A younger officer approached him. "Commander, what do we do now?" Raiden turned. His face was calm, but his eyes burned. We answer. Project Iron Shield Activatus Raiden slammed his palm onto a command console. All around him, hidden panels in the walls opened, revealing advanced systems most humans didn't even know existed. Earth's leaders had spent decades preparing for the day aliens would come. They never announced it. They never shared it, but they built something anyway. The room shook as dozens of secret space defense platforms awakened. Activate pulse units. Raiden ordered. 4 giant pillars on the moon vibrated. Charging energy. Prepare Falcon X Squadron, he added. Far beneath the Pacific Ocean, a hidden hangar opened, releasing sleek human fighters that sliced through the water and launched into the sky like silver arrows. Connect neural link for the SpaceNet, he continued. Engineers rushed across the room, linking cables, opening screens, entering commands. The entire defense network came alive. Humanity was preparing to strike back. The first human counterattack Raidening stood in the center of the room. Fire Pulse Unit 1. A blast of blue energy erupted from the moon and shot across space. It hit one of the Vorgan scout ships. The ship didn't explode, but it shook. Its shields cracked, and sparks burst across its surface. Inside the Vorgan ship, alarms blared. Officers stumbled. Panels shattered. High Marshal, someone shouted. The humans. They struck us. Kravox's eyes flared. What weapon was that? We do not know. Kravox growled. Increase shield power. Forward attack formation. Human advantage discovered back on Earth. Every screen lit up with data from the damaged Vorgan ship. Myra stared at the readings. Commander, look at this. Raiden approached. Their shields. They flicker when they absorb energy, Mira said. It's unstable. Almost like they overheat. Raiden's eyes brightened. They're not invincible. That means we can beat them, Myra whispered. Rayde and placed a hand on her shoulder. It means we can hurt them. And that is the first step. Human pilots take the sky. The Falcon X fighters reached space. Their engines glowed white hot. Inside, pilots locked their helmets. Hearts pounding. Captain Yalin, the lead pilot, spoke through the comms. This is Falcon Leader. We see the targets. Enemy ships detected near the Kuiper Belt. Falcon Leader, Raiden said from command. This is the first battle for our species. Make it count. Yalin grinned despite the fear. Humans always make it count. The Falcon squadron accelerated. The clash begins as the Vorgan ships approached. They opened fire-bright red streaks crossing space like deadly comets. The Falcon X fighters dodged and spun, flying in wild, unexpected patterns. Alien officers watched in confusion. High Marshal, these humans. They fly like chaos, Kravox growled. Their movements are chaos. But that chaos worked. A Falcon pilot fired a pulse torpedo that struck the same damaged Vorgan ship, and this time the ship burst open in a silent explosion. Humanity had destroyed its first alien ship. Inside the command center, cheers erupted, but Raiden raised his hand. Quiet, he said. This is only the beginning. The Vorgan respond deep in the alien flagship. Anger burned in Kravox's eyes. Enough games, he said. Prepare the main fleet. They will know the true power of the Vorgan Dominion. A giant shadow moved behind the flagship, another alien fleet approaching. 10 times larger. The real war was coming, and Earth had only won the smallest. Earliest spark of it. The news of the first destroyed Vorgan ship spread across Earth like wildfire. People cheered in the streets. Some cried with hope. Others shouted that humanity was unstoppable. But Commander Raiden Cole did not celebrate. He stood alone at the edge of the command deck, watching the stars on the large screen. Behind the calm view of space, he knew the truth. The Vorgan had not attacked with their full power. The real storm was still coming. Raiden closed his eyes for a moment. "Show me the Global Defense Archive," he said. The lights dimmed. A massive digital vault opened in the air, revealing files Earth had kept hidden for decades, projects created in silence, tested in secret, never spoken about in public. Most people on Earth believed humans were unprepared for aliens. They were wrong. Decades of preparation many years earlier. Strange signals had been detected near the edge of the galaxy. Governments never shared it with the world, but they began preparing quietly. Raiden had joined the project at 18, trained in hidden bases far from cities. Isolated from the world. Now, as the Vorgan invasion approached, all those efforts came together. Raiden walked through the archive like a man walking through memories. Project Titan armor, human power suits strong, enough to survive hits from alien weapons. Project Skybreaker, gravity mines designed to pull enemy ships off. Course. Project Helios, a massive human space carrier hidden behind Saturn's rings. Raiden tapped the last file. The Helios. He whispered, "It's time." A hidden fleet awakens while the world slept in fear. A quiet signal pulsed across space from Earth's deep command center. In the shadows behind Saturn, something enormous moved. First a faint vibration. Then a metal giant slowly turned its engines on. The space around it shivered. The Helios-class carrier, the largest ship humans had ever built, finally awakened. Its hull was black, designed to disappear in space. Its engines hummed like a deep heartbeat. Inside the carrier, hundreds of pilots and soldiers opened their eyes as red lights flashed across the halls. A young engineer looked out the window, his jaw dropping in awe. "Is this really happening?" He whispered. Another soldier answered, tightening his armor straps. "We trained our whole lives for this." Back at Earth, Command Officer Myra rushed toward Raiden. Her hands were shaking as she held a datapad. "Commander, we found something in the Vorgan data." Raiden turned. "Tell me." Myra displayed a list of destroyed planets, their names written in alien script. Raiden scanned the list. 39 planets, 39 species. All wiped out by the Vorgan Dominion. "They don't conquer," Myra whispered. "They erase." Raiden's face hardened. "So there is no negotiation, no surrender," Myra agreed. Raiden stepped closer to the star map. "What else did you find?" Myra hesitated. "This part is worse." She activated a hologram of the Vorgan flagship, their main fleet. "It's not just an army. It's a full extermination force. They use it only on species that resist." Raiden clenched his jaw. "Which means they see us as a threat." Myra nodded. "Or as entertainment." Building the human strike team, Raiden turned away from the screen. "Assemble the core team." Within minutes, the best minds on Earth filled the room. Captain Yalin, the ace pilot who had led the Falcon fighters, Dr. Amina Voss, a genius hacker who once took down a military satellite system using only a laptop, Sergeant Holt, a ground soldier trained in Titan armor, and Mira. Raiden's sharp-eyed second-in-command Raiden looked at them one by one. "We are facing an empire that believes it already won this war," he said. "They think humans are weak. They think we fear them." Sergeant Holt cracked his knuckles. "Do we show them otherwise?" A small smile crossed Raiden's face. "We show them what humans really are." The first briefing, the lights dimmed. A 3D hologram of the solar system appeared. Raiden pointed at Neptune. "The Vorgan's first fleet is here. We hit them once. They are angry, not damaged." He moved his hand to Saturn. "Our strongest weapon, the Helios, is hidden here. No alien sensor has detected it." He then circled Earth, and here is what we must protect. This is not just a planet. This is our home. Captain Yalin asked, "Commander, what's the plan?" Raiden zoomed in on the Vorgan fleet. "We fight differently. Creatively. Like humans do. We use every trick they've never seen. Unpredictable defense. Irrational attack patterns. Chaos." Mira added, "We use their weakness. Their shields overheat." Raiden nodded. "Exactly. We strike fast, hard, and unexpected." Back on the Vorgan flagship, High Marshal Krovox watched his damaged scout ship drifting in space, still burning. His 4 eyes were full of anger. These humans? He growled. "They're not like the others." An officer spoke carefully. "High Marshal, should we prepare the extermination fleet?" Krovox turned slowly, his voice like ice. "Yes, let the galaxies see what happens when humans refuse to kneel." Tension rises, Earth continued. Preparing. The Helios warmed its engines. Falcon X. Fighters were loaded with new pulse torpedoes. Titan armor soldiers trained. Non-stop. Everyone felt it. The air was heavy. The silence sharp. The war had not begun fully, but it was coming. Raiden stood at the window, watching the distant stars. He whispered to himself, "They think they know us, but they don't." And far away, the Vorgan extermination fleet turned toward Earth, like a giant shadow stretching across space. The real battle was about to begin. The space around Neptune turned dark, not because the sun faded, but because something enormous blocked its light. The Vorgan extermination fleet had arrived. Dozens of massive alien warships formed a wall of metal across the edge of the solar system. Their engines glowed red, like burning eyes watching the human world from afar. Inside each ship, thousands of Vorgan soldiers waited with cold, silent discipline. High Marshal Krovox stood at the center of the flagship, staring forward. "Begin advance," he ordered. The fleet began moving deeper into the solar system. Formation tight and deadly, like a storm made of steel. Earth. Command. The alarm 50 minutes later. Alarms exploded inside Earth's defense center. Red lights flashed. Holograms trembled. Officers spoke in urgent voices. "Commander Raiden." Mira shouted from her station. "The Vorgan fleet has crossed Neptune's orbit." Raiden stepped forward. "How many ships?" Myra swallowed. "At least 40 main cruisers, and—" "Commander." She hesitated. Raiden's eyes hardened. "Say it." "There's one super dreadnought. It's the size of a small moon." The room fell silent. Sergeant Holt exhaled sharply. "So, the real war starts now." Raiden didn't blink. "Activate the blue line." The blue line revealed. The blue line was Earth's hidden outer defense, a perimeter of small, fast-moving fighters, automated drone units, and gravity mines placed secretly around the orbit of Neptune. No human civilian knew it existed. Few soldiers had ever seen it. Now it awakened. The dark space near Neptune lit up with blue arcs of energy as hundreds of tiny defense drones activated, forming a shimmering web of light. Falcon X fighters roared into formation behind them. Captain Jalen's voice came through the comms. "This is Falcon Leader. Blue line is active. All fighters in position." Raiden nodded. "Your mission is simple. Hold them as long as you can. Every second matters." Yalin replied with a calm laugh. "Commander, humans don't hold the line. We make the line." First contact Vorgan fleet reached the blue line in minutes. The first alien cruiser fired. A huge red beam sliced through space, hitting several drones at once. Pieces of burning metal spun away into the void. Jalen's eyes narrowed. They opened fire. "Blue line is engaged." He led his squadron forward. The Falcon fighters moved like lightning fast, sharp, unpredictable. They looped around beams, spiraled through burning debris, and shot in angles no Vorgan pilot had ever seen. Inside the Vorgan command ship, officers screamed into their consoles. They maneuver too fast. They fly with no pattern. Impossible movements. Kravox leaned forward. Then crushed them. Chaos in the blue line. The battle exploded into a storm of colors. Red alien beams. Blue human pulses. Black ships. Drifting in the void. Jalen's fighter twisted between two alien cruisers. Engines screaming. He fired a pulse torpedo from the underside of his ship, a move completely against standard battle rules. Torpedo hit the cruiser's overheated shields. The shield cracked. Then shattered. Alien ship burst into sparks. Direct hit. Yalen shouted. Falcon pilots cheered, but their celebration ended with a sudden warning. Multiple enemy fighters incoming. Myra shouted from Earth Command. A swarm of Vorgan attack drones flew in, hundreds of them, moving like a metallic river. Raiden stepped closer to the screen. Yalen, pull back. They're trying to surround you. Yalen breathed fast. Too late. We're already in it. A daring human gamble. Human fighters were outnumbered 5-1. The Vorgan drones closed in, firing from every direction. But humans had something the aliens. DIDN T creativity. JALEN made a crazy decision. Falcon Squadron. He shouted, "Follow my lead." He shut off his engines. His ship drifted dead in space, silent, unpowered. Invisible for a moment to alien targeting sensors. Alien drones shot past him. Confused. JALEN powered the engines back on at full thrust. Now behind the enemy. Surprise, he whispered. He fired 2 torpedoes. 2 alien drones exploded. The entire Falcon Squadron copied the move, shutting their engines on and off in a wild dance of light and darkness. Alien sensors scrambled. They lost track. They couldn't compute the chaos. Mira stared at the display in amazement. There, improvising. Raiden allowed himself the smallest smile. That's how humans fight. Meanwhile, the Vorgan super dreadnought moves while the dogfight raged. The Vorgan super dreadnought slowly approached the blue line. It was a monster bigger than any ship humanity had ever imagined. Its shadow stretched across kilometers. Inside the ship, Vorgan engineers prepared a massive weapon. A dark sphere of energy formed at the core of the dreadnought. An officer whispered, "High Marshal, the weapon is ready." Kravox lifted his hand. Fire. Disaster. Black beam erupted from the dreadnought and tore through the blue line. Hundreds of defense drones vanished instantly. 2 human fighters were caught. In its path, no time to escape. Their ships disintegrated. JALEN shouted, "We lost Falcon 6 and Falcon 9. Holt slammed his fist against a console back on Earth. Damn it. Raiden didn't look away from the screen. "They want to break us," he said quietly. "They want fear." Mira asked, "Commander, what do we do?" Raiden straightened. "We send in the Helios." The turning point far beyond Saturn, the monstrous human carrier Helios began turning toward the battlefield. Its engines roared like thunder. Inside the ship, soldiers strapped in. Pilots prepared their fighters. Engineers activated the gravity cannons. Humanity's strongest weapon was finally coming. But even the Helios had limits. Myra looked at Raiden. "If this fails..." Raiden finished her sentence softly. "An Earth falls." He stared at the stars. "But we don't fail. Not today." Dark smoke floated across space where the blue line had once shined. Pieces of destroyed drones drifted like fragments of broken hopes. The Vorgan super dreadnought moved through the debris slowly, confidently like a predator walking through the bones of its prey. Inside Earth Command, the air felt heavier than ever. The screens showed one painful image after another. Lost fighters, broken drones, damaged human ships struggling to return. Falcon leader Jowan's voice crackled through the speakers. "Commander, we can't hold much longer. We're losing pilots." Raiden closed his eyes for a brief second. "I know. Fall back to the Helios. You did enough." He did not say the other truth forming in his mind. "We are running out of time. Signs of collapse, officer." Myra stepped beside Raiden with trembling hands. "Commander, the Vorgan fleet changed formation again." "Show me," Raiden said. The hologram expanded. The Vorgan ships now formed a wide circle around the super dreadnought, like guardians protecting a monster. Myra whispered, "They're preparing something. Something big." Raiden nodded. "I know that pattern. They never used it in standard attacks. So what is it for?" Myra asked. Raiden's voice dropped. "Planet destruction." The word hung in the air like a freezing wind. Soldiers nearby stopped moving. Some swallowed hard. Others stared at Raiden with wide, terrified eyes. Sergeant Holt shook his head. "Commander, you're saying they want to?" "Yes," Raiden said quietly. "If they can't conquer Earth, they will erase it." The planet breaker, a new blip, appeared on the edge of the hologram. Giant circular shape slowly opened like a black flower. Metal petals spread apart. A deep red glow formed at the center. Myra's voice broke. "Commander, that's not a ship." Raiden stared at the screen. "No, it's something worse." The words tasted bitter. The planet breaker. Even the name made the room feel colder. Raiden had read about it once. Hidden deep in stolen alien files. It was a weapon meant to destroy entire worlds. A thing only released when the Vorgan wanted to erase a species completely. And now, it was opening its deadly heart toward Earth. The space near Saturn vibrated as the Helios class carrier ignited its engines. Waves of blue light spread across the rings, scattering dust like shining sparks. Inside the carrier, hundreds of human soldiers stood ready, armored, armed, and silent. Commander Raiden Cole walked through the main deck with a determined but heavy expression. The events of the last hours replayed in his mind. The Vorgan Super Dreadnought. The planet breaker weapon. The traitor inside Earth Command. And the loss of cities, stations, lives. Part 5 had broken morale. Part 6 would decide survival. Raiden stepped into the command room of the Helios. A giant hologram of the solar system floated in the middle. Myra saluted. "The Helios is fully operational, Commander." Raiden nodded. "Then we move." The entire ship kilometers long began its slow, powerful turn toward the battlefield. Across the void. The Vorgan prepare for final conquest. High Marshal Kravox stood on board his super dreadnought, watching the planet breaker charge again. The dark energy pulsed in large arcs, pulling shadows across the metal walls. "Earth will submit," he said calmly, "or Earth will burn." His officers bowed. Kravox tilted his head. "And no species will remember their name." But suddenly, a new energy spike echoed across the void. Sensors from the Vorgan fleet blared with red warnings. "High Marshal!" An officer shouted. "A large human vessel is approaching. We have never seen this class before." Kravox leaned forward. "Show me." A hologram appeared, and there it was. The Helios, a human creation unlike anything the Vorgan had ever witnessed. Huge, armored, glowing with blue defensive lines, carrying hundreds of fighters, cannons, and gravity weaponry. Kravox stared for several seconds. "Magnificent," he muttered, but then his voice sharpened. "Destroy it." "Operation Breakstorm begins." Raiden's voice echoed across the comms. "All units, this is Commander Raiden Cole. Today, we take the fight to them. This is Operation Breakstorm. Pilots locked in their chairs. Soldiers adjusted their Titan armor. Engineers activated gravity cannons. Raiden continued. We do not fight because we want war. We fight because this is our home. Because the Vorgan think we are weak. Because they think humans kneel. He leaned closer to the console. Today, we show them who we really are. The launch sirens activated one by one. The Helios released its fighters into Space Falcon X. Tri-blade and new stealth model. Ships built secretly for a day like this. The battlefield lit up with engine trails. Clash of armies, the two forces collided like thunder. Shaking the universe, Vorgan cruisers fired red beams. Ripping through asteroids, human fighters dodged, spiraled, and flew in impossible ways. Yalin, leading Falcon Squadron, laughed into the comms. Let's dance, you alien monsters. 3 Vorgan drones tried to flank him. He spun his fighter upside down, shut the engines, let gravity tilt him, reactivated thrust, and fired 3 torpedoes backward. All 3 drones exploded. Mira tracked the battlefield from the Helios. Falcon leader is holding Sector B. But then a giant shadow covered the human fighters. The Vorgan super dreadnought had moved forward. It was the size of a city. Its cannons glowed. Its shields shimmered. JAL. Ian cursed. Commander, we're facing a mountain. Raiden's tone didn't shake. We've climbed mountains before. Raiden meets Kravok suddenly. A communication request flashed on the command screen. Commander, Mira said, the Vorgan flagship is calling you? Raiden narrowed his eyes. Put him on. The screen flickered, and High Marshal Kravox appeared, the terrifying 4-eyed alien who had demanded Earth's surrender. His voice was cold as frozen. Metal, human, you return to fight, he said. Brave, pointless. Raiden stepped closer. You should have never come to Earth. Kravox tilted his head slightly, studying him. Your species laughs, Kravox said, even when facing destruction. Strange creatures. Raiden's voice sharpened. You wanted a war. Now you have one. Kravox's eyes glowed. Then let the galaxy watch your end. The screen cut. Humans strike the super dreadnought Raiden, pointed at the massive enemy ship. All units target that super dreadnought's shield node. They overheat under pressure. The Helios charged its gravity cannons. Fire. Blue gravitational waves slammed into the Vorgan dreadnought's shields. The shield shimmered, then cracked slightly. JAL. Ian saw the opening. Falcons! Hit that weak point. Human fighters rushed in from all angles, firing torpedoes and pulse rounds. Each hit made the crack grow larger, but the Vorgan were not fools. The planet breaker weapon began charging again, aimed directly at Earth. Mira shouted, Commander, if they fire, the Earth's shield won't hold. Raiden took a deep breath. We stop it now. The turning of the planet breaker DR. Amina Voss, Earth's best hacker, stepped forward holding a portable data sphere. Commander, she said, if I can get close enough, I can hack the planet breaker's core. I can destabilize it and force it to backfire. Raiden stared at her. How close? Amina looked at the super dreadnought. Inside the weapon chamber. Raiden inhaled sharply. It's suicide. Amina shook her head. It's survival. Raiden made his choice. Prepare a boarding pod. The final push begins. The Helios opened its lower bay. A small armored pod launched into space, heading straight toward the Vorgan super dreadnought. Amina sat inside, hands steady. Heart racing. Rayden watched the tiny pod move across the battlefield. Protect that pod. He shouted. Falcon fighters formed a shield around it. Vorgan drones fired wildly. Explosions lit up the darkness. Jalen shouted. They're targeting the pod. We need to push through. The pod kept moving slow, steady, determined. Raiden whispered. This is it. This is where humans rise. The pod hit the dreadnought's hull and drilled inside. Amina entered the alien ship. Alone. The real climax was about to begin. Boarding pod rocked violently as it drilled through the outer hull of the Vorgan super dreadnought. Inside, Dr. Amina Voss held on to the metal straps, feeling every vibration shake her bones. Sparks flew. Metal screeched. The heat grew fierce. Finally, crash. The pod punched through and locked into the alien corridor. Amina grabbed her hacking sphere, took one deep breath, and stepped out into the enemy ship. The corridor was dark, filled with red glowing lines and strange alien symbols pulsing on the walls. An alarm roared through the ship. She whispered to herself, "Okay, just stay alive long enough to save." Earth, outside, the battlefield burns human, and Vorgan forces continued their brutal clash. Falcon fighters dodged red beams. Tri-blade units took down alien drones in tight formation. Helios's cannons unleashed blast after blast, pushing back the Vorgan cruiser line. But the Planet Breaker weapon continued charging inside the super dreadnought. Myra shouted from the Helios bridge, "Commander, the Planet Breaker is at 70% charge." Raiden's eyes darkened. "Amina, hurry." Inside the alien ship, Amina ran through the corridors, her breathing loud in her helmet. She used the map Raiden had provided, stolen from the trader's data leak, but the Vorgan reacted fast. 2 alien soldiers turned the corner ahead of her. Towering, armored, weapons ready. Amina froze. The aliens hissed and raised their rifles. Boom. A metal fist slammed into them from the side. Sergeant Holt, wearing full Titan armor, crashed into the corridor, smashing one Vorgan into the wall. "Holt!" Amina gasped. He grinned behind his visor. "Thought you might need backup, Doc." She couldn't help but laugh once. "You're insane." "That's what makes us human," Holt replied. Together, they ran deeper into the ship, the path to the core, the Planet Breaker. Chamber door was massive, 3 layers of glowing alien metal. Amina placed her hacking sphere onto the control panel. The sphere lit up with blue sparks. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface. Earth. Symbols mixed with alien code. Lines of data twisted, merged, collided. Holt stepped forward, blocking the hallway with his Titan armor, firing at incoming Vorgan soldiers. "Do it fast," he yelled. "I'm trying." Amina shouted back. "Their code is alive. It fights back." Electric arcs flared as the sphere began overriding the alien. Locks. First lock broken. Second, lock release. The third was harder. Holt's armor took a direct hit from an alien plasma bolt. He grunted. Come on. Amina screamed at the sphere. "Open!" The door cracked open. Inside, the Planet Breaker core pulsed like a giant beating heart of dark energy. Holt grabbed Amina's arm. "Go!" On the bridge of the Helios, Myra watched the energy readings. "Commander, the Planet Breaker is at 85%. Raiden clenched his fists. "Amina, please." Jalen's voice came through the comms, full of static. "We're trying to hold them, but there are too many." Raiden closed his eyes for a moment. "This ends now." He activated the full comms channel. "All human units, give everything you have. Protect the Helios. Protect Earth." Inside the core chamber, Amina rushed to the center of the chamber. Alien consoles floated in the air. Dark energy swirled like a storm around them. "This is it," she whispered. "This is where we turn their weapon against." Them. She slammed the hacking sphere into the main port. Entire chamber shook. The Vorgan AI screamed in alien language. The lights flickered. On the ship's bridge, Kravok saw it immediately. Someone is in the core. Stop them. A dozen elite Vorgan raced toward the chamber. Holt stepped into the hallway, raising his Titan armor shields. He whispered, "All right, big guys. Come get me." The showdown Raiden could wait no longer. He entered a transport pod and launched himself toward the super dreadnought. The small pod flew straight through the battle chaos, dodging debris and lasers. He crashed into a side hangar, leaped out, blaster in hand. Heart racing, he ran toward the core, and then he saw him. High Marshal Kravox, the alien leader. Standing in the central hall, the two stared at each other. "So the human commander comes himself," Kravox said. Raiden lifted his weapon. "This ends with you." Kravox drew his blade. The chamber shook around them as they charged. Raiden versus Kravox swung his blade with monstrous strength. Raiden rolled aside, firing at close range. The alien shield absorbed the blast. Kravox kicked Raiden, sending him crashing into a railing. Rayd and spat blood stood again. "You fight well." "For a small creature," Kravox growled. Raiden wiped his lip. "We're small, but we hit hard." He charged again. Punches, blasts, blade swings. The hall echoed with metal and fury. Raiden grabbed a broken pipe and slammed it into Kravox's armor. Cracking it, Kravox roared in pain. "You cannot win." Kravox shouted. Rayd smiled weakly. "We already have." Amina's final hack inside the core chamber. Amina hit the final command. The planet breaker began reversing its charge, turning inward. "It's going to blow." She screamed. Holt grabbed her, pulling her toward the exit. The entire ship shook violently. The end of the Vorgan Raiden heard the alarms and stared directly into Kravox's 4 eyes. "It's over," Raiden said softly. A massive explosion ripped through the ship. The planet breaker imploded and exploded outward. The super dreadnought vanished in a blinding flash. Human fighters saw the shockwave and cheered across the battlefield. Vorgan fleet panicked. Their leader was gone. Their super weapon destroyed. They surrendered. For the first time in their history, the Vorgan Dominion bowed to another species. They bowed to humans. Epilogue. Humanity Riser Raiden, Amina, Holt, Mira, and Yalin returned to Earth as heroes. The world rebuilt. The galaxy watched. And a new era began. In the final broadcast, Raiden spoke to all of humanity. They demanded we surrender, but we laughed. We stood. We fought. And today, the galaxy knows why humans never kneel. Earth cheered. Humanity had risen.